Hey friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin and I'm so excited that you decided to take time out of your day to spend with me because today we are doing my winter TBR and we're using a spinner wheel that has winter related prompts on it. So yeah, I am really loving the spinner wheel, and it's just fun. I think it's an easier way to do the TBR jar because I don't have to have little scraps of paper. I have a jar. I can just type it into this spinner wheel and go about my business. So I'm really having fun with this. And we are going to be picking some books that will be read throughout the winter months. And for me, that is December, January, and February. Okay. So you will be seeing probably some holiday theme prompts, but that is not the theme for this whole situation. Okay? Cool beans. So let's just hop into it. Alrighty, let us get into the first spin. Looks like we have a mystery thriller to start off with. That should be interesting because I don't really read a lot of those, but I want to get more into the genre, so I want to take this as my opportunity to do so. Spin number one gave us a mystery thriller, and I think I'm going to go with The Plot by Hanff. Korelitz? I'm sorry, I butchered that. I apologize. But yes, let's talk about the plot. Jacob Finch Bonner was once a promising young novelist with a respectably published first book. Today, he's teaching in a third-rate MFA program and struggling to maintain what's left of his self-respect. He hasn't written, let alone published, anything decent in years. When Evan Parker, his most arrogant student, announces he doesn't need Jake's help because the plot of his book in progress is a sure thing, Jake is prepared to dismiss the boast as typical amateur narcissism, but then he hears the plot. Jake returns to the downward trajectory of his own career and braces himself for the supernova publication of Evan Parker's first novel, but it never comes. When he discovers that his former student has died, presumably without ever completing his book, Jake does what any self-respecting writer would do with a story like that. A story that absolutely needs to be told. In a few short years, all of Evan Parker's predictions have come true, but Jake is the author enjoying the wave. He is wealthy, famous, praised, and read all over the world. But at the height of his glorious new life, an email arrives, the first salvo in a terrifying anonymous campaign. You are a thief. What is the real story behind the plot, and who stole it from whom? If I'm gonna read a mystery thriller and enjoy it, it's gonna be one about books and writers. So yes, heading into spin number two. One of my favorites, a romance. Love that for me. Spin number two gave us the prompt of a romance, and for that I am choosing Sight Unseen, and that is by Kasha Thompson. And this is a spin on Married at First Sight, and I really like watching that show. So I feel like this is the perfect romance. Evelyn Townsend is a friend her parents warned you about. She's always jumping off bridges with reckless abandon. So when a reality show promises the opportunity to meet her perfect match, Evelyn is all in. There's just one major catch. Her soulmate will be picked by a panel of experts, and she doesn't get to meet him until they are face to face at the end of the aisle. Quincy Parrish has played it safe his entire life. When he steps way out of his comfort zone and auditions for a reality TV show, he never expected to be picked. Quincy doesn't believe in the concept of soulmates, and the chances this arranged marriage will work are slim to none. But he's messed up his love life for the past 35 years. Maybe a group of experts can do a better job. And yes, I just give it to me. Like all the Married at First Sight vibes. I feel like I'm going to eat this up, and I'm very excited to get to this. Spin number three. Ooh, that's a good wintry prompt. A book with snow on the cover. That's going to be fun. Spin number 3 gave us the prompt of snow on the cover. And for that, I am choosing Most Wonderful by Georgia Clark. And this is a charming queer holiday romance about 3 siblings, each at a personal and romantic crossroads, who reunite at their larger than life mother's Catskills manor for an unforgettable Christmas. The holidays are fastly approaching, and the Belvedere siblings are a mess. Liz, a Hollywood showrunner and responsible eldest, has no idea how to follow up her hit show's first season or how to deal with her giant crush on its star, Violet. Birdie turned her chronic middle child syndrome into a career as a stand up comic, but since she spends more time wooing women than working on new material, she's facing one hit wonder status. And Rafi, sensitive, romantic, and the baby golden boy, proposes to his co-worker girlfriend in front of his entire company, only to be turned down by the woman he thought was the love of his life. Born to 3 different fathers, the 3 adult children share one mother, famed actress and singer Babs Belvedere. Seeking direction and holiday cheer, all 3 siblings head up to their mother's house in Catskills, determined to swear off love and focus on themselves and their work. And this has been said that it's for fans of Emily Henry and Casey McQuiston. Spin number 4. Okay. A red cover. One of my favorite colors. Cool. Should be easy enough. Prompt number 4 was a red cover, and I'm choosing The Sky on Fire by Jenn Lyons. And this is a fantasy that follows Anarod, who lives only for survival, forging her way through the harsh jungles of the deep with her Titan Drake by her side. Even when an adventuring party saves her from capture by a local warlord, she is eager to return to solitary life. But this is no rescue. It's Anarod's past catching up with her. These cunning misfits and their frustrating dragon rider ringleader intend to spirit her away to the dragon-ruled sky cities, where she's the key to their plan to steal from the world's most securely guarded hoard. There's only one problem. The hoard in question belongs to the current regent, and she wants Anarod dead. And this is a fantasy heist adventure full of conniving dragons, lightning banter, and high stakes intrigue. And we don't get standalone fantasies very often, so when I find them, I scoop them up. And also dragons. Dragons. So, yes, really excited for this spin. Oh, I've lost count. Spin number 5. Yeah. A cold or wintry setting. Okay. Wait, did I spell that wrong? Prompt number 5 was a cold slash wintry setting, and we're going for a deadly inside scoop by Abby Collette. And this, the cover doesn't give cold or wintry, right? But hear me out. So, Bronwyn Cruz has just taken over her family's ice cream shop in Chagrin Falls, Ohio, and she's going back to basics. She's renovating the creamery to restore it to its former glory and filling the menu with delicious homemade ice cream flavors, many from her grandmother's original recipes. But unexpected construction delays mean she misses the summer season, and the shop has a literal cold opening. The day she opens her doors, an early first snow descends on the village and keeps the customers away. To make matters worse, that evening she finds a body in the snow, and it turns out that the dead man was a grifter with an old feud with the Cruz family. Soon, her father is implicated in the death, and she is going to do some sleuthing to basically clear her daddy's name. And this just sounds like it's going to be a fun, cozy murder mystery that's centered around an ice cream shop. Spin number 6. Oh, that's definitely going to be helpful. Okay. A sequel. Yeah, that needs to happen anyway. For the sequel prompt, I am going to be choosing one of my most highly anticipated releases for 2025, and that is Cursebound by Saara El-Arifi, which is the sequel to my beloved Feybound. And because Cursebound is a sequel, I'll tell you a little bit about Feybound. So, Erin is a warrior in the Elven army and has known nothing but violence her whole life. Her sister Little is trying to make a living as a diviner, seeking prophecies for a better future. When a fatal mistake leads to Erin's exile from the Elven lands, they are both forced into the terrifying wilderness beyond their borders. There they encounter the Fey court. The Fae haven't been seen for a millennium, but now Yearn and Little are thrust into their seductive world, torn between their loyalty to each other, their elven homeland, and their hearts. And I don't have to tell y'all much more because y'all know I've been screaming about Feybound since I started this channel. So I'm sure you know what it's about by now, but I am super, super, super excited because Cursebound is supposed to be coming out in February, and I am hoping that that is what happens because I need this book. Spin number 7. My favorite color, a green cover. Love that for me. Spin number 7 was a green cover, and we are going with The Book of Life by Deborah Harkness. This is the third book in the All Souls series, but the last book in the trilogy. I think this one ends like the main story arc, and the next book in the series are just kind of focusing on different things, I think. So, yeah, I need to continue on before I forget all the things. I was having a really good time with this series. I even started watching the show, but I don't want to watch the third season before I read the book, so I'm able to compare. This follows essentially, this series is like Twilight for adults. We have Diana, who is a witch, but she doesn't practice, and she calls up this magical manuscript, and all of these supernatural creatures are drawn to her now and trying to get her to call the manuscript up because it contains the secrets of the creation of vampires, witches, and demons. So she attracts the attention of this vampire Matthew, and they end up falling in love, which is bad because witches and demons aren't supposed to be in love. And then go on this grand adventure to try to find this magical manuscript and also learn about Diana and her history and how she's connected to this. This series is a mixture of romance, it's a mixture of history, suspense, fantasy. It's everything wrapped in one. So, yes, the Book of Life. Spin number 8. Holiday in the title. Okay, should be easy enough. I have a lot of holiday books that I want to read. So, for holiday in the title, I am choosing Christmas in Spite of You, and this is by Casey Mills. So, this is about a neat freak Scrooge and a Christmas loving ball of chaos who must coexist for a week, and the friction and separation that ensue makes the most magical time of the year extremely remarkable. And we are following Noelle, who is strapped for cash and needs a way to make money. So, under the advisement of her closest friend, she decides to rent out her apartment as an Airbnb for the Christmas holidays because she plans to visit her family anyway. She wants to relax, celebrate the season, and regroup. And what she doesn't plan on is that she ends up getting sick, so she can't go down to the Christmas celebration and she has to stay at her house. And Kincaid is the man who rents the Airbnb, and he is surprised when he shows up and Noelle is still there. So they decide to cohabitate for the week, and yeah. They immediately clash on everything, most notably their views about the holidays. Noelle is determined to have a very Merry Christmas, And Kincaid is very much against that. But once he allows himself to see things through Noelle's eyes, he gives into her need to celebrate the holiday. And, a little romance happens, okay? Spin number 9. Ooh, that's a good one. Books about books and bookish people. One of my favorite things to read. So for spin number 9, we got books about books and bookish people. I chose Must Love Books by Shauna Robinson. This is about a young woman who discovers she'll have to ditch the dream job and write her own story to find a happy ending. I actually just talked about this book in my Libby TBR. And so we are following Nora, who is overworked and underpaid, and she's working as a bookish assistant at Parsons Press. And so this is her first step into working her way into her dream job because she just wants to make books for a living, right? And so with this job she's been at for about 5 years, she is slowly realizing that the dream job does not exist. Parsons Press ends up cutting her salary, and to be able to afford her life, she decides to moonlight for a rival publisher to make ends meet. And then there's this author named Andrew who gets kind of thrown into the mix, and she'll kind of have to decide, what her priorities are. And she kind of has to decide what she wants her life to look like going forward. And if creating a new dream job for herself is something she even wants or even, thinks is possible. So, yes, Must Love Books. Spin number 10. Food on the cover. Okay. Okay, we can do that. Spin number 10 was food on the cover, and for that, we are choosing All I Want Is You by Falon Ballard. And this is a rivals to lovers type situation where we follow Jessica Carrington, who always wanted her own happily ever after. But until that happens, she spends her days as a small time romance writer to soothe the heartache left by her ex boyfriend, Nick, a fellow romance writer, and now her biggest rival, who has found success writing love stories without happy endings. And so, when their professional obligations find them snowed in and forced to share a room at the same remote inn a few days before Christmas, Nick and Jess are both fuming. But what's more fitting for two romantic writers in a slump? And when they realize the friction between them might be the only cure for their writer's block, they decide to turn their frustration into fiction and the pages start flying. Just can't shake the feeling that Nick is the last guy on earth she should be falling for again. But as they both finally get back into their flow, is he all she wants for Christmas? And I'm a little skeptical about this because I am usually not a second chance romance type of reader, but we'll give it a shot. I like reading about writers and stuff, so maybe that will kind of overshadow the second romance of it all. And it just depends what happened in the relationship and why they broke up. I'll get back to you on that. Spin number 11. Audiobook. Okay, that should be fun. Prompt 11 was an audiobook, and I am choosing Mary Inkmas by Talia Hibbert. And this is following an infamous tattoo artist who has been watching Bailey Cooper for months, but that's all he'll ever do. Watch. Bailey's too sweet, too smart, too good for the likes of him, and he knows it, so he keeps his distance until a Christmas miracle makes him Bailey's boss. Socially awkward Bailey has learned long ago that men just aren't worth the hassle. Take her new boss, Cash, a brooding beast who avoids her like the plague, but he also fixes her plumbing, helps the homeless, and offers Bailey a place to stay for Christmas. She's never met anyone so confusing or so impossible to resist. And the more Bailey learns about Cash and his demons, the more she thinks it's time to stop fighting. So I am on the skeptical side about this one, but I am craving more Talia Hibbert, so we're gonna give it a shot. Going into number 12. A number in the title. I might have to think about that one a little bit. Spin number 12's prompt was a number in the title, and I am choosing The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. I started this book, and I don't know if you can tell, but I'm about 85 pages in, and I just kind of needed to set it down because I just wasn't in the right mood for it, and I wanted to make sure that I was in the mood because I wanted to give this book a fair chance because Lex loves this book and loves this series, and she wanted me to read it. So I wanted to do that. I was enjoying what I was reading. Like I said, I just wanted to make sure I was in the right headspace. So I plan to actually pick this up and finish it, and we'll see what happens. This book has a very vague synopsis, but I think everyone in the book community knows of the fifth season. But it says, "This is the way the world ends for the last time." It starts with a great red rift across the heart of the world's sole continent, spewing ash that blots out the sun. It starts with death, with a murdered son and a missing daughter. It starts with betrayal and long dormant wounds rising up to fester. This is the stillness, a land familiar with catastrophe, where the power of the earth is wielded as a weapon and there is no mercy. Yeah. Whatever that means. Yeah, I'm excited to get back into this and finish it. Number 13. Oh, we've just gotten all the color covers. Next is a white cover. Okay. So we have red, green, and white. Okay. Spin number 13 was a white cover, and I'm going with a very new release, and that is Bloodguard by Cecy Robson. Like, this book took forever to get here, okay? I pre-ordered this book, and I think it was supposed to come out like at the beginning of this year, and we just got it. So I'm hoping that, she was worth it because we waited a long time for this book to happen. Also, it's very pretty, and I don't have many white covers, so I'm happy that this showed up. And in Bloodguard, let's see. Leith of Grey thought coming to this new land and volunteering to fight in the gladiator arena, vicious, bloodthirsty tournaments where only the strongest survive, would earn him enough gold to save his dying sister. He thought there was nothing left to lose. He was wrong, and they took everything: his hope, his freedom, his very humanity. All Leith has left is his battle-scarred body, fueled by rage and hardened from years of fighting for the right to live another day. Then Leith meets Maeve, an elven royal who is everything he despises, everything he should hate, until the alluring princess offers him the one thing he needs most: a chance to win the coveted title of Bloodguard and his freedom. But in a kingdom built on secrets and lies, hope doesn't come cheap, nor will his ultimate revenge. So I have never read anything about gladiators before. So when I saw that, I was like, need to try that. Need to try it. Going into spin number 14. Ooh, yes, 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 yes. I need to read before the end of the year. Thank you, Spinner Wheel. Yeah. Spin number 14 was a book that I need to read before the end of the year, and that is Masquerade by Sangoyomi. And this book has, I don't know, I this book came out this year, but I just feel like I want to read it, I need to read it, and I don't know, I think it's a little intimidating to me. and that's why I haven't picked it up. So I'm making myself read it. I don't want to go into 2025 having not read it. It's also on my 24 and 2024. So that's also driving me to read it. And yeah, like, look at this cover. She's beautiful. So Masquerade is about, and so it's set in a wonderfully reimagined 15th century West Africa. Masquerade is a dazzling lyrical tale exploring the true cost of one woman's fight for freedom and self discovery and the lengths she'll go to secure her future. And it's loosely based on the myth of Persephone, and it takes you on a journey of epic power struggles and political intrigue, which turn an entire region on its head. And I love powerful women doing badass things, and I think that this is what this is. It's more of a historical fantasy, but I feel like I'm going to eat it up. I just have to get myself to read it and stop being intimidated by it. Number 15. A new release. I love that for me, for sure. For spin number 15, we have new release, and I am going to roll this one over from November because I didn't get a chance to read it, but it is really up there and I really want to get to it. So that is The Davenport More Than This, and this is the sequel to The Davenports by Krystal Marquis. And in this series, we are following four young Black women. We have two Davenport sisters, the Davenport's lady's maid, and also the oldest Davenport's best friend. And it gives Bridgerton. Black Bridgerton. This happens in the 1910s in Chicago, and it's coming off of, civil rights. And the Davenport's father was a slave, so they're one generation removed, but they have a lot of money because their father owns a carriage company. And so it's just a diaspora of Black experiences, and it's really fun. Like I said, you get the balls and things that um, this era brings, and also just like the general messiness and coming of age stories that you would get from something like Bridgerton. And these people are really just trying to figure out who they are and who they want to be and finding their own way in the world. And I really, whoa. I really enjoy this series, and I'm so excited to finally have this book in my hands to read. And our very last spin number 16. LOL. We've gotten every color that I put on this spinner wheel. A blue cover for the last spin. That's kind of cute. Our final prompt is a blue cover, and for that, I'm choosing a book that has been on my TBR for a while, and I don't know why I haven't picked it up, but we're going to try to make that a thing this winter. And that is Chosen Ones by Veronica Roth. This is also on my 24 and 2024. So I'm really hoping that I can make myself go ahead and read this. 15 years ago, 5 ordinary teenagers were singled out by a prophecy to take down an impossibly powerful entity wreaking havoc across North America. He was known as the Dark One, and his weapon of choice, catastrophic events known as drains, leveled cities and claimed thousands of lives. Chosen Ones, as the teens were known, gave everything they had to defeat him. After the Dark One fell, the world went back to normal for everyone but them. After all, what do you do when you're the most famous people on earth? Your only education was in magical destruction, and your purpose in life is now fulfilled. Of the 5, Sloane has the hardest time adjusting. Everyone else blames the PTSD and her huge attitude problem, but really, she's hiding secrets from them. Secrets that keep her tied to the past and alienate her from the only 4 people in the world who understand her. On the 10th anniversary of the Dark One's defeat, something unthinkable happens. One of the Chosen Ones dies. When the others gather for the funeral, they discover the Dark One's ultimate goal was much bigger than they, the government, or even prophecy could have foretold. Bigger than the world itself. And this time, fighting back might take more than Sloane has to give. And that is the end of what I'm calling my winter TBR. I'm hoping that I get to all of these books before winter is over. But, If not, that's fine. I at least got to tell you about them, so maybe you can pick them up. We have made it through another day of bookmas, and I could not be more excited. So yeah, thank you for staying to the end of this video and listening to me yap about books because it's my favorite thing to do. And I hope that you have the best day that you possibly can. And I will catch you in the next video. Bye.